You're pathetic. Now control that narrative, you
I'd rather just move on to other topics.
It's a bitterly missed opportunity, as Velveteen Dream Patrick Clark was perhaps the greatest wrestling talent in recent years. At NXT, he was already considered a future WWE champion. He had it all, but dark clouds were gathering above him. A pedophilia scandal halted this promising career, and more troubling details came to light. In this documentary, we examine the disturbing downfall of Velveteen Dream.
He recorded people trying to urinate in my bathroom.
When Clark was 2 years old, his father was stabbed to death by a street gang during a drug deal. He grew up without a father, but found role models on television. Young Patrick was fascinated by wrestlers like Kurt Angle and The Undertaker. Later in interviews, he said that the wrestling stars from SmackDown 2003 to 2008 were like father figures to him, shaping and inspiring him. At 19, he applied for the WWE casting show Tough Enough and talked about it in a video.
When I was just 2 years old, my father was killed. And I knew at that exact moment that if I followed in his footsteps, I could end up just like him. Dead. The WWE saved my life.
Although he didn't win the competition, the WWE executives noticed his enormous potential and signed him anyway. Triple H and William Regal were impressed with Clark's charisma, work ethic, and passion for wrestling.
Just what I've seen from him so far, his future is unbelievably bright.
Nothing means more to Clark than wrestling. It wasn't long before he met one of his great idols. Orlando, Florida, the WWE Performance Center. It's a big day for Patrick Clark. Today, he will meet John Cena. Cena takes over 6 hours coaching the WWE's future stars. One person in particular catches his eye, someone who has it all: charisma, wrestling skills, acting talent, and a character that fits like a glove. John Cena later described Velveteen Dream in interviews, saying he was one of the next top stars. Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and other industry legends were also very impressed. Steve Austin even compared him to his rival, The Rock.
That's enough for today. Out of my way, make a hole.
Clark seemed to be doing everything right. He showed up on time for training, worked hard, and was deeply respectful to his colleagues and trainers. He made unusually rapid progress and created a wrestling character that brought him his breakthrough. Inspired by music icon Prince, he embodied an extravagant persona with homoerotic tendencies, a mix of ravishing Rick Rude, Macho Man Randy Savage, and Goldust. Clark swept through WWE's developmental system like a colorful whirlwind. In 2018, he won the Wrestling Observer Award for Best Gimmick.
Velveteen Dream. I love the kid. I'm crazy about him. He's extremely talented. I love his new character. Unbelievable. Everything about him is not to believe.
The Velveteen Dream was unlike anything wrestling fans had seen before. Every appearance left a lasting impression. As NXT North American champion, he delivered world-class wrestling matches. His rise seemed unstoppable, but as is so often the case in life, no one could foresee the sudden turning point that would change everything. In April 2020, the first allegations against Clark surfaced. He was accused of having had an inappropriate interaction with a minor. As evidence, screenshots and voice messages were posted online. A dark question preoccupied the wrestling scene. Had top talent Velveteen Dream engaged in cyberbullying, deliberately influencing minors to establish sexual contact? Clark refuted all accusations. He claimed to be the victim of a hack. But 2 months later, his name made headlines once again. He was accused of harassing a minor via chat. This sparked a huge controversy. Major media outlets reported on it, and WWE was forced to act quickly. Triple H reacted unusually nervous and brusque when asked about it, and tried to move on to other questions.
We looked into it, didn't find anything there, so I'd rather just move on to other topics.
Soon, the hashtag #FireVelveteenDream was trending on social media. The negative attention forced WWE to investigate the case internally. Later, Triple H said they had found no evidence of inappropriate behavior. WWE tried to defuse the situation, but over time, even other wrestlers turned against Velveteen Dream. According to Sportskeeda, Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley reportedly pushed for Clark to be fired. Ripley liked a tweet saying, "Fire Velveteen Dream." EC3 also later confirmed that many of his colleagues couldn't stand Clark. They found his behavior a little off and somewhat strange at times. Despite this, Triple H stood by him and gave him more chances. In late 2020, Velveteen Dream returned to NXT shows. In front of the cameras, everything was as before, but behind the curtain, trouble was brewing. Rumors of sexually aggressive behavior circulated after a party night.
We had a party and it was at my place, and he came over because I'm being friendly and I'm top guy, and I try to welcome everybody into a thing.
It was a summer night after a hard day of training at the Performance Center. EC3 invited his colleagues to party at his house. Patrick Clark was also invited, but according to EC3, he crossed a line. Several hours into the party, EC3 found a suspiciously positioned camera in the bathroom. It was aimed to film the toilet. It turned out to be Clark's smartphone.
He left his phone in my bathroom with the camera on, trying to capture people taking piss. I took the phone, I stopped the recording, I made sure the video of my wee-wee was deleted.
Word of the incident spread like wildfire. It was an open secret backstage for some time.
Unnamed talents that I will not name in this moment in time will probably doing other things in that bathroom. So instead of a blatant confrontation, I just say, everybody get out.
EC3 also blamed Clark for injuring him during a match, claiming Clark gave him a concussion with a botched move. When EC3 went public with these allegations, Patrick Clark fired back with an angry Instagram video. He countered by accusing EC3 of doing cocaine that night and cheating on his partner with an NXT wrestler.
Coke is a hell of a drug, EC3. Get your shit together. You're pathetic. Now control that narrative, you asshole.
Clark denied the accusations against him, but few NXT talents bought his side of the story. This was partly due to several similar incidents that had allegedly occurred. Higher-ups supposedly knew about this incident. According to EC3, the scandal was swept under the rug to protect Velveteen Dream as a potential future star. Former colleagues, however, mentioned comparable boundary-crossing incidents. Clark's popularity took another hit when he was backstage at Raw. At the height of the COVID pandemic, he refused to shake hands with some colleagues, which also rubbed people the wrong way. Numerous conflicts led to Patrick Clark becoming increasingly isolated backstage, with few friends left. Some wrestlers even hurled slurs at him, calling him a p***ile or using homophobic insults. This led to fist fights. Clark's outbursts became more frequent, and eventually, WWE couldn't keep him around anymore. The Wrestling Observer reported a backstage incident that allegedly led to his firing. The exact details are unclear, but it was one slip-up too many. In May 2021, the former Velveteen Dream lost his dream job. He learned of his release through a phone call. Few WWE colleagues showed support for Clark. On the contrary, he had an extremely bad reputation. Even Triple H spoke critically of him, mentioning unprofessional and immature behavior. Clark's firing pulled the rug out from under him. He fell into a mental health crisis and struggled to process this setback. He began to drink heavily and use drugs. A few months later, the police arrested him. He was driving on the highway at night, with his lights out, with several bags full of drugs. When the officers pulled him over, they witnessed Clark snorting cocaine right in front of them. He was trying to destroy evidence. In a panic, he attempted to hide the rest in the dashboard, but the bag fell and scattered all over the passenger footwell. By August 2022, Clark's mental health had hit rock bottom. His aggression problems worsened dramatically. He battled drug addiction, and he couldn't keep it together in public. In Orlando, Clark stumbled drunk into a club. According to eyewitnesses, he was extremely wound up and provocative. A dispute quickly broke out between him and an employee. The conflict escalated when Clark threatened to kill the employee and started throwing punches. While at a gym, he made a grave mistake. A gym employee approached Clark and asked him to leave the free weight area because it needed cleaning. Clark flew into a fury and punched him in the face. He also bit him in the chest. Bystanders called the police, who then hauled off the former WWE talent in handcuffs. In the police footage, Clark insults the officers and behaves disrespectfully. He also claimed to be working for WWE, even though he'd been fired a year earlier. After the arrest, Clark sat in jail. After 2 days, his former NXT colleague 𝗡𝗙𝗎𝗍𝗓 paid the $1,200 bail, according to Pro Wrestling Insider. Patrick Clark's biggest dream is to relive that fantasy, to wrestle for WWE once more. On his Instagram profile, he writes #BringBackVelveteenDream. It didn't take long for Clark to try to get back in the ring. In July 2021, he was announced for a local independent show for SWF in New Jersey. However, such a massive wave of criticism followed that the promoter backpedaled after 2 hours, cancelling the booking and removing Clark from the card. In 2022, according to wrestling media outlet BWE, there was talk of a new contract between Clark and WWE. Apparently, he had also been spotted at the Performance Center. On social media, he had edited and published his own vignettes announcing his return. He had apologized online for all the problems he caused, to WWE, to Shawn Michaels, and to Triple H.
I want to apologize for my behavior. I'm sorry. I recognize that I was losing myself, and I apologize to anyone that I lost along the way, anyone that I've upset or offended because of my behavior. Man, I'm sorry. And I hope you all forgive me.
Allegedly, Triple H was toying with the idea of bringing back Velveteen because his talent was still undeniable, but the plans fell through. Burying his wrestling dream was the hardest thing for Patrick Clark. In February this year, Velveteen Man had a match at an independent show in Albany, which was met with mixed reactions. The promotion was met with harsh criticism for booking him despite his past allegations. Some say he deserves another chance. And who knows, maybe someday WWE will bring back the Velveteen Dream. Booker T expressed criticism, telling fans not to count on it. The last few years, Patrick Clark has been living off the money he earned at WWE. In a recent interview, Clark mentioned he is currently living on a farm with his cousin, helping with agricultural work and animal care. He said that he is in a loving environment, and for the first time, wrestling isn't constantly on his mind. One glance at the WWE roster makes it clear they don't need Patrick Clark. Even without Velveteen Dream, Triple H has a full roster brimming with incredible talent that he can mold into great champions. Stars who can carry the company, sell merchandise and tickets, deliver fantastic matches, embody great characters, all without making scandalous headlines. Velveteen Dream was special, but not special enough for WWE to bring him back. The big tragedy is this: he could have been a massive star. He had everything going for him, but in the end, Patrick Clark sabotaged himself. His dream of what could be is now a regret of what could have been.
I've seen many people self-destruct over the course of their careers. So, the potential and the sky is the limit quote is just what you do with it.